Hello, welcome back to the Barrett channel today for a brand new video. I've been wanting to do a couple of like podcast kind of videos, and so Jordan actually made us aware of him in our comments section. Yeah. And
every video.
We are both from England and we're similar age. You're
24, yeah.
I'm 22, so we thought we'd be able to connect on a sort of level where, you know, we might not be able to resonate with other people as much, so we wanted to get together and do a kind of just a chat really. I don't really mind where this goes, just sort of share our experiences about being in China and whatnot. So yeah, let's get this started. Do you want to introduce yourself? He's actually a YouTuber as well.
I'm a YouTuber, So Jordan Lilley in China, if you want to go follow us.
The link will be down in the description.
But yeah, I've been in China for over 2 years now, so I came when I was 21. So how old were you when you came?
I came just over a year ago. I was 21 too.
I came just when I was 21. I just graduated from university, so I'd been studying business. But my life was kind of a bit shit, so it wasn't really going anywhere. And then I went straight to China about 6 months after I graduated. And then, yeah, I've been here for 2 years now. I've just been living in Shenzhen. I'm teaching English, maths, and I've been teaching PE as well. So.
Oh, not just English then? Yeah, that's interesting, because most you know, people who come to teach, they'll be teaching English.
No, I got put into maths first, because...
Oh, really?
They just asked us, do you want to teach maths? So I went maths,
in English though?
In English, yeah, it was kind of more like applied English. It's like more applied.
Okay. And this for like top students?
Yeah, like top students, but it's like they were young, like 7, 8.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like, this is, for example, like greater than and less than. Like you're teaching them the English, this is greater than, this is less.
Oh, I got you.
It's kind of like English still, but maths,
So when you went to university in the UK, which is different to me, I actually didn't go to uni. Where did you study in the UK?
In Newcastle, so Newcastle University.
So where you're from, right? Yeah.
Cheaper, so
people watching who, you know, might think, oh, we sound very different, but we're both from England. That's the thing in England. You've got extremely different accents all over the country.
I have a bit of a strong accent.
Yeah, I like it. It's interesting. It's much more interesting than the southern accents, in my opinion.
But as well, that's when I'm teaching, I have to really slow down.
Yeah, I just asked you before we started recording, do you have like a teacher's voice that you
It turns into like a robot. I'm not going to give an example of it because I'm like such an idiot. Yeah. I can remember one of my friends, when I went back home to England, I still had that kind of speech, like that robot kind of talking, and me mum and me dad were like, why are you talking like this?
I can just see there, you're me mum.
Me mother, and me father.
Yeah, so you, when you finished uni, did you have any sort of idea that you might come to China, or was that
I was always been put in like that mindset of kind of go to university and get kind of a good job, and that's why I've done business. Kind of that, I think that's the mindset throughout the whole of the UK. So I always had that mindset of just go to university, get a good job. And it wasn't until I actually graduated that I realised it wasn't really what it was made out to be. Like I'd been working like part-time jobs, but I didn't have that much experience, and I think I just expected to go into like a good job, straight good job, and then it wasn't. It like hit us. I think when I graduated, it kind of hit us that okay, that's not the case.
Right. Yeah. I think that's been more and more the case in recent years with universities in England. Yeah. It was quite different for me because I'm pretty sure neither my mum or dad went to uni. Yeah. So they weren't drilling it into me that was the typical way to go, and you have to go to uni and things like that, which a lot of people feel that the pressure of.
Yeah, I didn't. My mother and father. I'm saying. They didn't put any pressure on us, but I think it was kind of the stigma of.
It is, yeah. Of
go
society.
To school, like even my school and stuff were like pushing university and get good grades.
Definitely. I was I felt like the odd one out when I was in sixth form, not applying for uni. I don't actually know why, to be honest. I've said in a video on my second channel, little plug there, second channel, link down in the description if you want to see a bit more inside of my thoughts and feelings and whatnot. I did a video over there basically like saying that I've lost my train of thought now. I didn't go to uni, and I never really felt like I wanted to, because academic studies didn't really like ever suit me. I was always a fairly intelligent kid. I was, you know, in the good classes or whatever, but I could never apply myself to put in work in an academic sense. But when it came to practical things, I would get way more into it. And so I kind of felt like pretty quickly. I felt like I want to work for myself as quickly as I can, because it came to that sort of, moving on a little bit anyway, when I was doing like little jobs after I left sixth form, I actually did the first year of sixth form but not the second year, and I was doing loads of little jobs and I hated them all. I've probably had like 15 or 20 little jobs here and there in hospitality and, you know, all the like on the phones, stuff like that.
Trying to find out what you like, to be fair though.
Yeah, it did force me to try and figure out what I like, but I always had a problem with authority at the low levels, because you've got like a lot of people around you have been there for 30 years, and you know that's not an offence to them. Fair enough if that's what they want to do or whatever, but I knew that wasn't for me, and I needed to get myself in a position where I could work on my own terms, if possible. So how did you feel like about going to uni and coming out, and what did you think you wanted to do?
I think that was the problem for me. I didn't kind of know what I wanted to do. I think that's why I done business, because business kind of, it can kind of open you up to, it's kind of like you're not, if you go and do something like history or something like that, you're on that set path. Whereas business, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I think that's kind of why I went and done business at university. I knew I kind of wanted to travel. One thing I wanted to do in my life was always travel, and but I didn't know how I was going to do that. It was kind of just, I think that's a problem for a lot of young people now. It's kind of, they don't have that direction, and
definitely
you get told, because I've read a lot of books as well, so you need to find something that you love and that you really want to do. But the problem is you don't know what you do love.
You don't know what it is.
So that was the main problem for me.
I definitely think you're right. There's a massive pressure on young people to figure out their path of life super quickly, and you don't even know yourself. Like I don't know myself yet properly. You know, I feel like I do, but I definitely don't.
Especially it can change. You're so young, 20 odd, even at 30, 40, your path can still change.
You know, people all the time, people are in a career for 20 years and then they think, actually I've been wasting my life for 20 years, I've never wanted to do this. There's a pressure on young adults. That's why I think China's a really, like, kind of refreshes you in a sense. It gives you like a couple of years to, because you know, as native English speakers, you do get quite good opportunity to earn good money at a young age, and you can, you know, save up a bit of money, get a bit of experience, life experience.
I didn't actually know that at the time. I think I just wanted a change. That was the main problem.
That was exactly.
So I started working, and it was kind of like a call center. It was kind of like a business job. It was like a call center.
Right.
And I just realised that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I knew straight away, after like a month, I knew I didn't want to do it. And I'm kind of getting how I got into China, to be fair. I just started applying for like every country, every job. Because I hated this job. Because I hated this job, I was just applying for everything. Other countries.
Was that for other countries as well?
Yeah, just, I don't know, just like even doing kind of stuff in like Greece, like bartender jobs, and I was just applying for every country. I knew I wanted to change. It was kind of like I needed to change of direction. Right. I wanted to just go somewhere. So
that's interesting, because that was literally different circumstances, but the same mindset. That was exactly the same as me. I just wanted a change. I was like, I just broken up from a relationship, and I was in a college course, because I did a college course a little bit later on that I hated. I was part-time in a job that I hated, so everything was just like, I need a big change.
It's kind of the same mindset, I hate this job, and I just...
So that dragged me to China. The only reason I came here, though, is because my dad was here, and I wasn't financially independent enough to go somewhere on my own yet. So he was like, oh, just come out here for a bit, see what you think of it. And I was like, you know, damn, I didn't really think of that being an option. Like, going to China it doesn't make any sense, but I'm very glad I did.
It was the biggest, the best decision I made,
Definitely.
But it wasn't until like 2 months later I got like an email saying, interview for this job. I was still at this other job, like the job I didn't like, and then they gave us an email, do you want to do the interview? I'd done the interview, and within like 3 or 4 days, like, you've got a job offer for China.
There's a massive surge for looking for English, native English.
I didn't realise it was going to be such
a quick process. Yeah, because typically in the UK, if you apply for a job, it can be months before you get it.
Well, I think that kind of tells a lot about myself, because a lot of people will probably ponder on that decision. And
definitely.
But I made the decision, I want to go, like I seen the email, I told me parents I want to go straight away. So
how did they react to it?
I don't think she really believed this to start, because I was only 21 at the time, and I wasn't really independent, wasn't financially independent, I wasn't really kind of like personally independent. Like she's still kind of, I was still kind of like Molly Cotton kind of thing.
Right.
I was still kind of not a child, but kind of a young adult that kind of, your mother does things for you. I was kind of like, so I don't think she kind of believed I was going to go. Until,
so do you reckon, until when? Until you booked your flight?
Even when I booked the flight, she still did.
Oh, really?
Now she still says she still didn't believe I was going to go. She thought I was going to like fall, like kind of go back on my decision.
That's, you know, again, that's similar to me because my brother was doing the same thing. Like he would come in and he'd be like, "You're not really going, are you?"
That's what all my mates would say.
Yeah, you're not really going to China because obviously people go travelling, right? But China's never on the map.
No,
you know, for people back home, I've never heard one person say, you know, I'm going to go to China. It's just not a done thing.
It's the same, yeah. With a lot of, especially my family, they've travelled, but it's kind of to similar places. So you go to Europe, maybe you go to Benidorm, it's still like England. You go to America, everywhere is kind of the same. Whereas China's the other end of the spectrum, really.
Definitely, and maybe Southeast Asia is a big one as well. But yeah, people don't typically come into mainland China. I don't know why that is, but I'm sure we have an inkling as to why that is. You know, people think it's very different as to what it actually is, but I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. I want to know what your perspective of China was before you came here. Like, what did you think you were coming into? Because for me, I had my dad had been here for 10 years
that's
before.
True. So you kind of haven't.
So he was telling me a bit what it's like. I had an idea, but you were just going into the unknown.
That's the thing. I had no idea. Even Shenzhen, I got told, "Oh, the job's in Shenzhen." I didn't know where that was.
Right. Yeah, I didn't.
I just checked. I was like, "Oh, it's near Hong Kong." I told everyone. Actually, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to Hong Kong," and then I thought, "Okay, I'll tell them I am going to Shenzhen." But when I say Shenzhen, everyone's just like,
"Yeah, what's
I
that?"
don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest cities in China. And
it's weird, isn't it? It's not on the
worldwide
map, really, for young people.
No one. I hadn't heard of it, to be fair.
I hadn't either.
I don't know, it's hard looking back now because it's been 2 years, but it definitely wasn't the idea that it actually is. Like, my perspective was, I especially didn't expect it to be so modern as it is. I think I was going into, you know, when you see the movies, kind of like the traditional Chinese houses and like the Chinese music. I think that is what my perception was.
Did you watch many videos about Shenzhen before you came?
I did, just before I came, about a week before I came.
Right.
But I still don't think I had a real perspective of it.
Yeah, it was definitely totally different to what I thought it was going to be like. Even though, you know, I'd been told a lot about it, it was totally different. You know, when I first arrived, for the first couple of months, I would literally like just take a night walk and explore the area. And I was just blown away, like just turn a street corner, average road, and I'll be like, whoa, you know.
The same, it's hard to take in, it's like,
it really is.
It's a big culture shock.
You know, have you been to London before?
I've been to London only a couple of times.
Yeah, me too, and it's totally different, isn't it?
It's totally different to that. I've been to like big cities, I've been to New York and stuff. I've been to big cities, but I think Shenzhen is completely different to...
In terms of like cities like this, New York is probably one of the most, you know, similar aspects.
Yeah, it is quite similar. It is still
modern.
different for me, I think.
Yeah, the cities here are absolutely huge, and it's even hard for us to conceive, you know, how big they are. You know, where do you live in around anyway in Shenzhen?
Futian, so I live like right in the centre now, like
Futian, for people who don't know, Futian's like one of the central districts. Central district. It was the first district, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it expanded from. Actually, no, I think Lo Hu was actually the first one. Anyway,
I don't really know it. I'm just agreeing.
Yeah, I think it was Lo Hu is the oldest one, but it's expanded into like 7 or 8 districts now, and I think I've been to the other side of the city once, like completely to the other side, and you know, it takes like 2 and a half hours.
I didn't realise how big it was as well. Yeah.
How long did it take you to get here?
About an hour and a half, I think, or just over 1 hour 10, I think. And I live
fairly close on the map.
On the same side of the city.
Yeah. So it just gives you an idea of how huge they are. And Shanghai, have you been to Shanghai before?
No, I haven't been to Shanghai.
Shanghai is on a different level. You know, it's just like Shenzhen in terms of how built up it is and how populated it is, but like ×2. You know,
everyone says everyone loves Shanghai.
Yeah, it's like it's very it's got a very big Western influence, hasn't it? So I think it's very popular for foreigners.
I've seen a stat, I don't know, it was a certain percentage, I forgot what percentage, was such a high percentage of foreigners living in China, it's all in Shanghai.
Definitely.
I don't know, I think it was 70 or something, I don't know exact.
Yeah,
But it was high
it's
anyway.
definitely
Very
high. You can feel that when you're walking around because it's different for you. You're in the centre. You probably see foreigners fairly often, but up here, I can easily go a day without seeing another foreigner.
Yeah, I lived in Long Hoa when I first came. Long Hoa.
Oh right, okay.
So you would see you'll be the only foreigner around.
Yeah. It's I tell you what one thing I think was very different when I came. I didn't think anyone would speak English. Like I
didn't think?
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought it was going to be like no one spoke English, and I was going to be really in the deep end and be forced to learn Chinese, and that wasn't the case as much as I thought. I am learning Chinese, but I'm still an amateur.
My Chinese, I need to improve my Chinese.
Yeah. I think it's especially being in the centre. Most people in the service industry speak a decent amount of English, don't they?
So it's quite funny because when I came, I had a different perception. I kind of thought that no one, everyone was going to speak English.
Oh, really?
Because everywhere else I've been, everyone has spoken English. So
okay.
I've been Thailand, I've been England, everyone had spoken English. So I had the perception that everyone did speak English. And Shenzhen, a lot of them do speak quite good English, but I still think I was kind of put out my comfort zone because it was the English level probably compared to where I had been before was probably a bit lower.
I'm going to go back to the first question in a second, but when you came, did you have any words of Chinese?
I think ni hao.
Yeah,
ni hao, that was probably it. Ni hao and
And to be honest, like before just a few words to get you around to buy things like numbers and things like that. It was difficult. I thought it was difficult. Yeah. Because especially people give you the hand signs and stuff of
that
the
was
numbers.
the problem. Yeah,
I was thinking, what are you doing? Like,
trying
what's
to help,
this? And what's this?
Now I can speak. Well, I can't speak Chinese, but I know the numbers.
Right.
I went into a shop the other day, and I asked him how much, and he was giving us the hand. I was going, how much? What is the number? Because I still don't know many of the hand. I know this is 6, but I don't know the other ones.
Right.
And he was doing these other hand signals, and I was just, can you speak it, please? But he wouldn't speak it.
Right.
If he spoke, I would have understood him. But he's just doing these hand signals.
I bet they think we have these in our country as well, but obviously not. Have you ever had it where you say, the famous foreign phrase "timberdong," and people start writing it? Have you had that before?
No, I haven't had people start writing.
Really, I've had that a few times where you'll say, "timberdong," which means I can't understand, and then they'll run and get a pen and notepad and start writing Chinese, and I'm like, nah.
I've had someone write Chinese before. When they asked for when I first got here, they asked for the phone number or something, and I said "ting badong," and then they start to write it down and show you the writing. And it's like, so I've had that before. Yeah.
So back to my the first question of the perception before you came. Even though I've been told quite a lot about the city and stuff, without being shown it, I feel like it doesn't give you much of an idea as to what it's like.
No, it doesn't really. Even I see, I've watched videos. I had watched videos on Shenzhen. I had watched and it's still, you still don't, unless you're there. I don't think you get that feeling.
Definitely. In terms of the Chinese people, I'll ask you first, and then I'll give what I thought. What did you think? Did you think you'd be able to get, because you've got a Chinese girlfriend now, right? Did you think you'd come and you'd be able to integrate with society and get a girlfriend here, or what did you think of how you were going to interact with Chinese people?
I have no idea. That is I'm not really sure.
It's been a while.
I had the perception before I came. I had the perception of, as bad as it sounds, I kind of judged Chinese people off what they were like in Newcastle.
Right.
I hadn't really spoke to many Chinese people. So I kind of thought everyone in China was going to be kind of the couple of Chinese people that I'd met, which obviously so naive and stupid. But I did kind of have that. I was young. I had that perception of everyone's just going to be like that. And it's not until you come that you realise there's so many different social groups, so many different personalities. But I didn't really think about, am I going to make friends? I don't know. I think I worried about it a little bit, thinking, am I going to kind of be the only one there?
Yeah, I definitely did. And the first 6 weeks, I genuinely found it really tough, because at first I didn't come here and plan to stay. I wanted to come here for 6 months, use it as a base to travel a little bit, and then go home. So I didn't give myself I didn't throw myself into social groups and things like that. I kind of kept myself to myself a bit, and I'm a very extroverted person, so I was getting in my own head about I thought I hated it here.
Yeah.
And
I struggled when I first came for the first couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah. And before I came, I didn't think Chinese people would be like us at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have no idea why I thought this, but I thought they were just so different that I had no idea I'd be able to just make Chinese friends as if I was making friends at home.
I was kind of saying, like I say, I think you judge, before you come here, you kind of judge, well, not judge, but you have this pre-perceived perception.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Because, other people who are a lot older than us will say, we're 21, 22, 24, we are naive.
Yeah.
And
it is quite naive when you think about it.
And, it's taught me the lesson that if you haven't been to a country, don't think you know what it's like, because you really don't.
It is true, because I think I did have the perception that they're going to be different to me, not my personality, because I'm quite, I don't know, a Geordie lad from Newcastle. I just thought, am I going to get on with them? But then you realise no matter what your background, no matter kind of what you've been through, like, you can still have things in common, you can still be friends.
100%.
Like, you still got, I don't know, it was naive to think that, but I did kind of have that perception of, I'm not sure if I'm going to fit in. Definitely.
I've realised now that I've got myself into a bit of a, not a situation, but anyway, I've made a close group of foreign friends, most of them being English, and I now don't really speak to that many Chinese people, and I think that's a shame, because I often have had some really good times when I'm just with Chinese people, because they'll show you places that you wouldn't think of going to.
You get to see more of the culture, it's more of a kind of first-hand experience, I'd say.
Definitely, yeah, and they'll order food that you might not order, but you actually find out it's really nice. They'll introduce you to things that you wouldn't have done, and I've now got a bit sort of distance from having Chinese friends, and I think I need to work on that a bit, because
I agree, because when I first came, I was kind of the opposite of you. I stuck with the foreign friends straight away, because I came kind of with a company, like a foreign company, so you came with all these foreigners, so I stuck to them. I think it's because you're so out your comfort zone. I stuck to them, but after a few months, then I started to make more Chinese friends, and I started to do more. Whereas now, I haven't seen them for quite a few months, but I still do have a few Chinese friends, and I'll probably, like you say now, I need to probably get in touch with them more and go back out with them.
Yeah, I'm very keen to start making some Chinese friends that don't speak English as well, because I
think it'll help your Chinese massively.
Definitely, because you always resort to the easiest way of communicating, right? So if we establish that they speak decent English, you'll never speak Chinese to them. You'll never try.
True. No, so it's just easier for you.
I don't know what it is, but that's just the way it happens. But
a lot of times they're the ones that want to speak English also.
Definitely, because they don't get much chance to practice it. So let's fast forward a bit. When you first arrived, what did you? Because I know for me, I was just blown away every day by things that were different. I was noticing, this is weird. When I say weird, I don't mean good. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But just this is different. And now I've been here a while, I've kind of got used to a lot of these ways of life. But I would love for one of my friends to come over and see them having that experience.
Well, actually, one of my friends, did come over about a year after me.
I'm so sweaty.
It is hot. It's hot here in Shenzhen.
Oh man.
That's one thing I struggle with the summer now. But my friend came. He came about 1 year after me. And he came just for a little holiday, and he stayed at my apartment. And he had been to Thailand. He had been traveling Thailand, Vietnam, and all around Southeast Asia. And he came to China. He still said this was the most different. Anyway, I think a lot of Thailand. You've travelled around Asia yourself. A lot of them are quite tourist places, but in Thailand, there's so many tourists. You go there, and it still doesn't feel kind of as authentic, I would say.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I can imagine.
And I've been to Vietnam. Even places I've been in Vietnam, it's still. You get so many tourists and so many kind of Western places and Western bars, Western hotels.
100%.
Until he came to China, he said this was the most kind of culture shock he had. And he had travelled all around Southeast Asia, and that kind of showed me that it was the more.
So you've done Southeast Asia pretty thoroughly, have you?
I've just done Vietnam, Thailand, and Laos. That's all I've really done, to be fair.
I did Vietnam pretty thoroughly, and you're definitely right, because a lot of those countries are much poorer, so they are very dependent on tourism. So they literally like flood their streets with Western restaurants and bars to get all the tourists in. So yeah, it's definitely a different sort of.
This has to be one of the most modern cities I've ever been to as well, to be fair.
Oh, it is for me, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, you can't really get much more modern than Shenzhen, because it was, it's been built in the last 25 years.
But yeah, for me, I think it was all just kind of a lot. It was a lot for the first 2 weeks. It was quite a lot. I think I'm quite glad I had that kind of foreign group to kind of give us. If I didn't have them, I would have felt quite, I don't know, a bit lost, a bit homesick.
Yeah. I definitely felt lonely as hell when I first came. I was living with my dad, but as a young lad, you don't want to spend all your time with your dad, do you? It's cool to go out for meals and stuff, but I wanted to go meet some friends, go to bars and things like that. And it wasn't until about 6 weeks later that I eventually went to a westernized bar, because I didn't even know there was one around here. And then I started, I was super anxious to go, but I went, and then from then on, my life improved so much more. When I first came, I told you I was planning on traveling and going back. I told you I got into that mindset of wanting to go home. So I actually booked my flight home.
So you booked your flight home?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I booked my flight home because I was doing Vietnam, and then I booked my flight home for the day after I got back. And I had this like haunting feeling that I was going to regret it. I was like, I'm just going to go and do the same as what I was doing back in the UK, working 9 to 5, and I'm going to hate it, and I'm going to think for years, like, I wish I should have, stuck with it.
Well, that's kind of the same with me. I didn't book my flight, but I was humming and hawing. I was like, I don't know, it's difficult. It was difficult. I felt homesick. But then I kind of looked back myself, and same as you, I kind of was like, I didn't enjoy my job back in Newcastle. I wasn't enjoying my life. And I was like, this is what I wanted. I wanted kind of a new beginning. I wanted this new experience. So even though it is difficult and I am out of my comfort zone, I kind of try to look positive, and like, I'm out of my comfort zone, but it's helping us to kind of grow. And these difficult times kind of will, as cliche as it sounds, will help us to become a better person.
Oh, you say it's cliche, and it is, but like, I feel like oftentimes when people say that, it just means you're touching on something deep that's truthful.
But that's why I looked at that. I was like, okay, you're out your comfort zone every day. It's it was a difficult experience, and no one speaks your language. All those times where I was trying to get taxis or taking us to the wrong place, I was lost. I think just everything was kind of overwhelming. But then I thought to myself, this is going to make like everything else easier. If you can kind of overcome this, then life, if I travel to Thailand, travel to other places, it will become easier, and it will kind of help us to.
Definitely.
And like I say, I didn't really have that I kind of relied a lot on my parents before I came here.
Right.
I think that's why I found it difficult, because this is the first time I've been thrown kind of into the real world in China. That's probably the most difficult place to be thrown into it as well.
The deepest end, I was getting friends say, fair play to you. You've got some balls throwing yourself into going to China.
And so,
like we said, it's not somewhere typically that people go to.
Because for me as well, I actually didn't get in because I was supposed to have my work visa when I got here. So when I got the ball, so I went to Hong Kong, and then I was coming into Shenzhen. And I was with the big group. Everyone else got in, but they didn't let me come into Shenzhen to start with.
Oh wow!
So I actually got stuck in I was stuck in Hong Kong for like a week. So I was stuck in Hong Kong by myself for about a week.
Man!
So that was kind of a difficult experience. Everything was going wrong. I didn't know when I was going to get in. I could also been told that I was going straight into a school, like straight into a job. And then I found out when I got here, okay, you have to find the school and you have to find the job. So then everything was I was overwhelmed. I was like, I'm just gonna, me father and stuff was like, oh, just come home, book the flight home. And I thought to myself, I ordered myself to just stick it out and kind of.
Oh, that's cool that you managed to prove him wrong in a sense as well. Like, and you wouldn't bottle it sort of thing.
It was quite difficult. And then I got my company kind of gave me the apartment and stuff. So when I finally got into China, it was difficult. I think it took like 2 weeks for us to get in, and no one kind of gave us a reason why.
Oh, right.
There was no reason. Like, I had all the official documents. I've got a degree, everything was, but they were just saying you can't get in.
That's so odd.
Someone from my company says it's apparently because I had been to Turkey on holiday. But no one knew the specific reason.
Yeah, there was no coronavirus at the time.
They were just saying, no, you can't come in. the guy was telling the person from the company, no, he can't come in. And it just mustn't.
That's so weird.
I don't know.
At least
no
you
one
got
knows
in
it.
the end,
But I
then.
finally got in there, and then when I got in, I was in like a really bad apartment. Like, we couldn't be put in a really bad apartment.
Oh,
And then, like I say, the culture shock and everything was on top of us, and I kind of was struggling. But I just thought, I kind of taught myself. I taught me mum. I'm gonna say mum. That's how I say it. My mum and dad. I'm gonna at least give it a month and just kind of stick it out. And if I still don't enjoy it after a month, and then like I say, now it's the best decision I've ever made.
Definitely.
Really,
do you feel like totally, like almost like it's home now? Yeah.
It does. You kind of feel at home now. Like I say, I've been traveling. I went traveling last summer, and then when I got back into China, I felt like home. Like I was back at home. As strange as it seems, it really does feel like home.
Yeah.
You get your TDs and your little Meituans.
Oh, that's something we can get into as well, because I let's hold that thought, because I want to get into that in a little bit about the convenience. I hate that word, but the convenience of living here. But do you have any, like, what do your family and friends think of you, like, telling them, oh, you know, it's great here, and telling them whatever you tell them about China? What sort of feedback do you feel from them? Do you feel like that? I'll let you answer it, because I'll answer it.
I don't know, I think with me parents, I think they're just happy because I do really enjoy it, and I love living here, and it is amazing. But with me friends, I don't know, I think they might think I just say it. I just say it because your life's kind of good, and they just kind of brush it off. They don't give us any kind of deep conversations about it. They're just like, oh, good for you. Not they don't kind of ask us any questions or.
Right, that's exactly what. That's similar to me. I almost feel like my friends like kind of half believe me.
Yeah, I do get that feeling. It's
they kind of maybe only think that I'm saying that because I live here, rather than actually is the reality.
Yeah.
And it's not till we've started doing loads of YouTube videos that we can say, look, no, we can show you this is what it's like. And you know, I got a message from my grandparents yesterday. They love watching the channel because obviously they don't get to see us. It's my dad's mum and dad, and they don't get to see us, so they love to catch up on all the videos.
Because like insight into your life and insight what it is like here.
Definitely, and they were like, you know, because Lee's been telling them about it for 10, 12 years, and they have never been able to see it. They love the fact that we can now show them, and they're like, oh wow, we do actually believe what you're saying now, because in their time, you know, when they were young, China was, you know, back in Mao's era, so times are very different. So that's their perspective of China, you know, on their bicycles and their grey uniform and their red books is their image of China.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like I do push it quite a lot, because even with my sisters, I have 3 sisters.
Oh right.
And I show them like the buffets. I'm going to cheap buffets. It's like all you can eat for like £10. The food's amazing. And sometimes I just feel like it's kind of like they think it's like kind of propaganda. I'm pushing just how amazing it is. But then I think they do kind of, I don't know if they do believe us, but I show them so many good things and good experiences that I think, I don't know. They'll have realised that it is. I'm enjoying my life. They know I'm enjoying my life here anyways.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to lie about it. No. You know, especially when you're sticking a camera around, you can't lie, you know, it is what it is. Often people will accuse us of that, you know, we've got officials behind the camera like shooting, pointing guns at us.
But if you do realise, a lot of the kind of YouTubers that you do watch, majority of them are positive.
Yeah, they are.
The one thing I say that is, you're not going to live somewhere for quite a few years if you really do hate it and you don't enjoy it. It's just kind of.
That's true. You can leave whenever you want. You know.
And most people I speak to, most of my foreign friends, they really enjoy a lot of it is to do with the convenience and kind of how friendly the Chinese people are.
Yeah, they are massively. Yeah, super hospitable people. There was one story that happened to me like a few months into coming here that I just thought was just unbelievable. It might sound quite small, but it really opened my eyes to how hospitable some Chinese were. I went to the electric bike shop because I had a problem with my bike and I needed it fixing, and they couldn't do it there, and I was like, oh, I really need help because I don't know where to go and whatnot. And this woman left her shop. She closed up the shop. And I was like, what's going on? I didn't really know what they were doing.
She closed up the shop,
And she got on her little bicycle and she was just like, oh, follow me, it's just over there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, she's taking me. We were on the bike for 20 minutes. I was following her for 20 minutes. She took me 2 metro stations along to the nearest like mechanic place where they would fix it, and then translated everything I needed to the guy and just said, oh, bye-bye.
I was just showing you how far, go
like,
away for like a foreigner and their country go so far out the way.
She's just gone she's closed up her shop and she might have had a customer in that time. She's just done that for me. And I was like, wow, you know, someone's never done that. Gone that sort of length for me before.
I've had quite a lot of experiences like that when they will, especially when I get lost, and they'll probably see this like lost foreigner, I'm lost. People will kind of come over and try and help us and find the place, and especially with a lot of the parents. So I see all the parents when I'm kind of working at my school, they're all so friendly with us and they'll want the children to come talk to us, and they're kind of they'll take pictures of like me being happy with the children, but they're so friendly, even though I can't kind of communicate with them. It's just the expression and how happy and stuff they look, and I kind of feel, like I say, at home. Like I feel welcomed because everyone is so friendly and nice to us. I had a story. I was in a park with my friend, and it's quite a strange story. But we went to play just kind of like with a frisbee, you know, like just throw the frisbee around. We're throwing the frisbee around, playing a bit badminton, and within about 10 minutes, we had about 20 children. I don't know, about 30 children all playing with the frisbee with foot.
Oh, no way.
They were all so happy, the high-fiving, oh, what is your name? And then I seen all the parents. I think in England they would have, as bad as it sounds, if you've seen 2 foreigners kind of playing with 30 children in a park, you would think.
Raise eyebrows for sure, yeah.
But all these parents were so happy and taking videos, all laughing, and I said to my friend, I was like, if this was kind of in England, there would be kind of questions.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You'd probably have the police turn up.
Then afterwards, one of the parents could speak English, and she came over and she said, oh, thank you for playing with my child and stuff. I was like, oh, it's no problem.
Yeah. I think they see it a totally different light, especially when it's you know, people who are speaking English with them. Yeah. I think a lot of them just think, oh, they're having fun, and a lot of them also probably think, oh, they're in an English environment, so they kind of.
I think that was the case. Yeah. Which is, for me, I kind of felt a little bit like not a celebrity.
I know
but everyone's so happy, all these smiles and faces, and I was like, oh, this is.
It's good, man.
It is good.
I often find, like, and I can already see people commenting, oh, it's because you're white people in China, and look, to an extent, sometimes you do get, you know, a bit of extra privilege because of that. You know, there's definitely been times where that's the case. However, even what I observe of other people, I do find that Chinese people are very hospitable, especially in like the service industry. They're very attentive and friendly.
That. Like you say, you do get the questions about white privilege and stuff. But I have got a few black friends here, and they still, obviously there is a minority that you might get kind of prejudiced about them, but a lot of them have the same experiences. Majority of the Chinese are kind of friendly to them. I know one of my other friends who is black, like one of the parents would take her to the school every day and kind of give her a lift to school every single day.
Nice.
So yeah, there is the kind of question about that, but I think from what I've seen, the majority of Chinese people they're just friendly to everyone. The majority of Chinese people are friendly, and
so moving it in a slightly different direction, I want to kind of counter that with some experiences that I've had recently, and one was just on what day is it today? It's Sunday, isn't it? One of them was just Friday night. So when coronavirus started happening here, you know, they cleared it up quite a lot, and then they saw that a lot of foreigners were bringing it in, right? So they shut the borders, and from then on, for about a month, I started feeling, you know, kind of discriminated against by some people, and you know, you weren't allowed in certain places, and that was definitely a thing for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
See, from me personally, I'm not just saying this, I didn't really experience that at all. I didn't really travel around too much. I went to restaurants, shopping malls, bars, I got the metro, and I didn't really experience it at all. I was with my Chinese girlfriend most of the time, so I don't know if that kind of impacted that, but I didn't kind of feel that at all. But I know a few of my friends said the same. Kind of taxis wouldn't take them in, and they kind of felt discriminated on.
Yeah,
but personally speaking, I didn't kind of experience it. But
yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I felt the same as you when I was with my Chinese girlfriend.
So I don't know if that did impact.
It did help, and you know, they can diffuse a situation by talking to the security or whatever. But you know, I did have taxis driving past me. I did have people moving away from me on the metro. You know, very minimal things. No one was abusive or anything like that. But it was. I also think there might have been some of those occasions might have been nothing, but it was just in my head.
Oh yeah,
that would definitely be a part of it. But what I was going to say was that quickly was over with after about 3 weeks. However, I got my first instances of it coming back because of this Beijing outbreak.
Yeah.
And this is strange, because now the borders have been closed for months. You know,
that is the thing. I've been in China for months.
So you've got every foreigner here has been in China for at least 3 months, however long it's been since the borders closed. And so on Friday night we weren't allowed to go into the nightclub. They said, look, no foreigners allowed from now on, you know, because there's been a new outbreak. And one of my friends speaks fluent Chinese, so he was trying to reason with him and you know what's going on. And they said, we've had order from higher authority that you're not allowed in. I thought, wow, I never thought that would be the case. You know?
But for me personally, I think that could have just been kind of a power trip of that guy. So maybe he's just saying he's got it from a higher.
Absolutely, and it's a bit windy, isn't it?
It is.
There's actually an authoritative statement online now that says, look, we don't tolerate discrimination.
Yeah, I've seen that. That was kind of after the Guangzhou kind of.
Yeah. And there's actually a number to call now if you're experiencing discrimination. So my friend got on the phone and he said, look, this is happening. And they said, no, you know, you're definitely allowed in. You know, that's not an authoritative thing.
That's kind of what I thought. For maybe it's just a power trip of this guy.
Yeah, so this isn't like provincial government saying this or anything. It's just, it's either him or it's maybe his boss or something like that. But you know, we couldn't get around it. That was it. We weren't allowed in that.
There was one. I went to Coco Park. This is before the virus, and all other clubs normally let you in. A lot of them let foreigners in because it's kind of But one of these clubs, every time it was like a big club. I'll try and go in this club. A lot of it was, were you with a big group on Friday?
Say again?
Were you with a big group, like a lot of people?
About 5 of us.
Because the one time they wouldn't let us in, there was like 8 of us. So I don't know if it's a big group of foreigners that they don't like. Because one time we went to go in and he's like, no. I couldn't really speak Chinese. I was like, why not? And he's like, no.
Right.
And then one of my friends can speak a bit Chinese. He was just like, no reason. No. But actually there was a door on the back, so we just went in that door.
Oh, you got in?
Anyway,
oh no.
We went in that door.
That takes me back to being like 17 in the UK.
That was before the virus, and I think this was just this guy kind of.
Yeah, he just
power trip. Because you do get the minority kind of like that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think it's so interesting, like being here during coronavirus, because you know we've never experienced this even in our own country. So it's a totally, you know, 10, 20 years in the future, I think we're gonna have a really interesting story to tell. Like,
I was thinking this year. I think this is going to be kind of like a defining year, like
for sure.
One history class or something like history exam. Like, how did the virus change the path of humanity and stuff? I really think it's going to make a huge impact on how we how we'll move on. I think how we'll move on and kind of learn lessons from it. I would say. I do think it's going to be a big year.
I do as well. Yeah, definitely one for the history books.
Because a lot has happened in 2020. It's only halfway through, isn't it?
You know, you start the year like every time. Let's make this our best year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year.
This year's going to be the one.
2020.
And then, bam, you know, coronavirus.
I think it was the same. Boris Johnson put like a tweet. 2020 is England's year, or is Britain's year, or something.
That age.
That age. I've seen that come up quite a lot now.
It's like, man, it's really kind of strange.
It's been a new experience, I think, for everyone, and for me it didn't kind of teach us lessons, but I kind of realised the importance of being out and the importance of spending time with your friends and family and stuff. And
for sure, yeah. So you live with your girlfriend, right? Were you living together?
I was living together at the time, yeah, but.
So you're kind of lucky in a way.
I was.
Yeah. So I don't live with her, but for that period we did live together, and it helped massively. Because I feel sorry for people who are just on their own.
I think that would have been very difficult.
For that long, you know, especially older people, maybe widowed people. It's like, man, it must be super difficult. But everyone here kind of just embraced it, don't they? Straight away.
That's what
Masked up, no one's on the streets.
It was just so like efficient and so quick. Everyone listened, everyone done. That's why when I came back, I was actually in Thailand at the time, but I came back just as the fire started, which probably stupid. I just wanted to get back in my apartment and kind of stick there. So I came back and it was just so, like you say, everyone had a mask on. It was only a couple of days, I think like 3 or 4 days after it started, it kind of come to.
Do you remember what date you came back? Because it was exactly the same as me. Just as I got back, it started happening.
It was I was just after Chinese New Year, I think.
Same as me, just after Chinese New Year. The first day I got back, I remember I got off the plane and all your messages start coming through. My friend from the UK messaged, have you heard of this this virus or something going on? I was like, no, I'm sure I would have heard of it.
I was getting called crazy for going back.
Oh, really?
Because mine was like, I think 5 days, so it kind of people knew about it then.
Oh, okay.
So I was getting called crazy for going back into China.
And within 3 days, everyone was masked up. And yeah, that's something we can mention. Like, how did your family react when when it started being worldwide news about there being this new virus?
No, yeah, I think they were very worried and kind of for us. But I was kind of telling them, you don't realise how safe it is here. Like in my kind of community, everything was boxed off. You came in, you got, like you say, temperature taken, you had to write down your details every time. If you went out and came back in, they would do the same. Yeah. Everything was so kind of.
And you got the track and trace app as well, and on the metro you got the.
So that's what I was trying to tell. And no one was out. Like I made a few videos. It was kind of like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Like no one was out. So I was saying this is probably as safe as it would be anywhere else.
Yeah. So you had like family and friends saying you need to come back.
Yeah, they didn't really believe us. They were trying to get us to come back to England, and I was saying I'm not stupid. Like I got kind of a bit not annoyed. But I was like, I'm not stupid. I'm not. If I thought I was putting my life really in danger, I would come home. Right. But I do think it's safe. I really did think it was safe at the time. Like
I did
all
too,
the procedures, there was many procedures put in place. So kind of, like you say, everyone was wearing masks. Not many people were out, and I felt like it was safe. And I stayed inside most of the time. So
me too. Yeah, I think it's every day there was something coming into effect. Like now it's temperature checks. Now it's this and that and you were made to feel like they had it under control.
I did. Yeah.
And it wasn't like England where everyone's going out. Oh, it's not a problem, And
I was seeing that the way they've handled it in England, I think
it's not so good. How would you have felt if you had gone back because of the government advice? Because the government issued a statement in the UK saying everyone from China needs to come back to the UK. I would have been furious, man, if I'd have gone back and.
I would have not been able, because my life kind of is in China now. I do feel like it's at home. So my girlfriend's here, my job's here, and a lot of my friends who are teachers, they've lost their jobs because they can't get back in, because no one knows when it's going to reopen.
No, or their visa might have expired. Or,
so they can't get back in. They're kind of got everything in the apartment. They've kind of lost kind of the life really, and they don't know when they're going to get back in. So I would have been kind of annoyed. One thing I can say is I don't think anyone could have expected like the turnaround. I think
definitely,
like, especially when it was only really China that had the virus started, and the rest of the world didn't. So even I didn't think it was going to be such a turnaround. I just kind of felt safe, so that's why I stayed. For me personally, I felt safe. So
I've got asthma, so there's an underlying condition. It's supposed to hit you harder. So I felt like staying put, getting on a plane would be putting myself.
That's one thing. That's what I said to
then staying put. And at that time, there wasn't much medical knowledge about it, so we didn't really know whether it was 1 in 10 dying or if it was way less than that. We are very lucky that it is way less than that. Obviously, it's been a terrible disaster for a lot of people, companies, people have lost people and stuff, but in terms of overall perspective, we've been lucky. It's been nowhere near as bad as what it could have been.
That's one thing about the start, no one really knew, did they? No one knew where it was going to go.
Novel virus. But it's super interesting, man. We're on the ground here to see what it's like, and we get all the time like China must have been lying about the numbers and all of this, and I don't know whether they are or they're not.
That's what I was saying.
But like, I didn't really know why people focus on that too much when like it wouldn't actually really make that much of a difference. 2, I can see why their numbers would have been a lot less, because they had way more precautions, and just the citizens' like mindset about it is totally different.
I would have said it was the mindset. I think, like you say, not just kind of the government. I think it was the people's mindset. They took it so serious, and I think they knew, like, they kind of put, I would say, health before kind of the economy. Whereas I think some of other countries, they kind of put economy before health. Whereas I think they didn't really care. They just knew, because I've seen some of the small businesses, like the little restaurants, and they stayed closed for months. I think like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I was thinking, I don't know how they're surviving, because that's probably a lot of their small income.
Definitely, they still got to pay their rent. They still got their bills to pay.
Well, but a lot of them did stay closed for.
Yeah. I think that trickles into the fact that Chinese are savers, aren't they? You know, I don't know what your girlfriend's like with saving money, but even young people, they have a little bit to fall back on, because they're taught from a young age you've got to save.
It's kind
money.
of like for situations like this, it comes in handy.
Yeah,
that taught me, because I didn't have too much. Well, I'm not going to go into my financial things, but it did kind of. Thing is that you do need, for situations like this, you need to be prepared, kind of in every way. Be prepared for situations like this. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, you never plan for something like this, but that's the perfect example of why it's good to have something to fall back on. Because in you know, most Western countries, it's kind of like spend before you have the money.
It is, yeah.
You can get all
paycheck by paycheck as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Literally, me and all my friends, we all live paycheck to paycheck, and you know. They're so lucky that the government in England are furloughing them and paying 80% of their salary, because you know, most people wouldn't be able to deal with that.
No, I don't think they would have. No. Because at the time they didn't know if they were going to get furloughed or not, so I think there was a lot of worry going around.
Definitely, yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to spin off onto and talk about? Because I think that wraps it up quite nicely, I would imagine.
No, yeah, that's about it. Just kind of, obviously, you've been here for how long? You've been here for now?
Just over a year, about a year and 3 months. Yeah.
So just kind of, what are your future plans? Kind of your thoughts about China? We'll end it on kind of.
I'm very much a person of like, I don't really like to think too much into the future. I kind of just take it as it comes.
That's kind of the same as me, to be fair.
I don't mind too much about the unease of the future. Like, some people really like to have like it planned out and they know want a path to follow, but I don't mind taking risks, and I don't mind, you know, switching up my situation pretty quickly. So I just know, the only thing that I know is that I like it here, and I don't want things to change.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoy the job, a lot of it too for me as well. I really enjoy the job. So the teaching I kind of find rewarding compared to my past jobs. So I'm just enjoying the job, I'm enjoying China, and we'll see where it goes. Because I just planned on coming for 1 year. So I was going to come for 1 year, then I extended for 2 years, and now I've just signed for another year. Because it's like my work visa is like 1 year every time.
I mean, we're in like situations now where obviously it's great, but we've both got Chinese girlfriends as well, so we take that into consideration.
That does,
massively, and you know, it's it's very easy to fall into that, because there's a lot of beautiful girls in China, and if you ever come here, you'll quickly.
I think that happens to a lot of people by the sounds of it.
You'll quickly find that
come
out.
Here and.
So you can easily get into that position, but
I think a lot of it too. That was what kind of part why I didn't go back to England. I think with the virus.
I think so. Me too. Yeah.
Because I kind of knew I wanted to stay here.
Yeah, and that would be terrible. You know, if you went back and couldn't come back for 6 months or whatever, that would be difficult.
For me, I was kind of, because obviously she would have to do a visa and stuff to go to England. So for me, it was kind of like I'll be running away if I just you stay in China. I'll go back to safe England. I'm kind of running away. See you later. So that was kind of in my mindset. I was like, kind of, I can't just leave her in China and me run away. To England.
That's true, definitely. But yeah, we've got some quite exciting stuff coming up soon. I've got probably the busiest 6 weeks ahead of my life. You know, I don't know when this is going up particularly, but I'll try and get it up in the next week or two. So I guess we'll already be in Chongqing when this goes up. But yeah, we're going to Shanghai, then we're going over to Chongqing. And then I'm traveling a little bit of northern China with
China.
Christine, so I'm really looking forward to that because I've not seen what it's like up there at all.
That's one thing I want to do as well, kind of to finish off, is I really do want to explore the country a bit more. So I've only really been, I've been to like Guilin, Yangshuo.
Oh, okay. Been to different places to me.
I've been a few places, but I haven't really had the kind of time or kind of money to travel, but I want to do a lot more travelling around the country, to be fair.
Me too. I feel like there's...
I've been to Sichuan, Chengdu as well.
Oh yeah, we'll see the pandas.
For me, girlfriend's hometown is like Chengdu, so I went for Chinese New Year. That was kind of.
Oh, nice.
How about you? You've been to your?
She's from Maoming, which is like a small city west of West Guangdong province. I haven't been there before. No, maybe sometime in the future.
Have you been to Chengdu?
I haven't. No,
I'd recommend going.
It's right next to Chongqing, but I don't think we're going to make it there this time.
Yeah.
But I will definitely go.
It's a really nice city. I know I haven't travelled much around China, but it is.
I've only heard good things about it.
The food as well.
It's all spicy food there.
It's
right?
like spicy hot pot, and majority of it is spicy. So if you don't like spicy,
yeah, I'm alright with spicy. What about you?
I like all food too.
Yeah, my dad's saying he doesn't really like spicy food, so he might find it difficult to be in Chongqing for about 2 weeks.
Make a funny video, just get
exactly,
all around the spicy hot pots and food.
Definitely. And then there's a lot of places to go in China, man, because it's the landmass of Europe fits inside China. So if you think about all the different cultures in Europe, it's like just the same in China, but it's hard to think of it like that because it's just one country. But you know, you can say you've been to China, but it's almost like each province is its own country in a sense.
That's why I do want to widen perspective. Because obviously I talk about how much I love China, I do like it, but I know that I haven't travelled the whole country. So that's why I do want to kind of explore it a lot more.
I feel like my perspective about China is kind of still a little bit naive because I've only been to the first tier places really. I've been to have had one rural experience in Meizhou, which is like 3 hours away from here, which was definitely eye-opening. But like you say, to go to more,
I think that is my plan, because
it's definitely something that needs to be done.
I enjoy living here, so I do want to learn more about the country and kind of.
I have one goal, which is I want to know fluent Chinese before I leave. So I feel like I won't be satisfied until I get to that point.
I really need to pick up me Chinese too.
Man, you sounds like you're super busy with what you're doing. So
that's been my problem. Yeah, I'm working kind of.
How many hours a week do you reckon you're working at the moment? Because it must be, a full-time job, and
Yeah, I'm working kind of on site. It is. I don't have much spare time. I have probably like Sunday afternoon. That's probably the only time I'll spend.
Yeah, so that's now. So thanks for coming up. I think that's a good point to end on. It's just it's just ticking over to an hour now, so that's good timing. I'm surprised these batteries have lasted the whole time. That one says it's got 22 minutes. That's all good. But yeah, Jordan has got a YouTube channel, so make sure you go over and check it out. It will be in the description. How many subscribers are you on at the moment?
I think 1,300.
So let's see if we can get into 1,500 by the time this video goes up.
Thanks for the shout.
No worries. Thanks for coming all the way up here. Go over to his most recent video and let him know that we sent you in the comment section or something like that. That would be really good. And you do plan, you're very busy, but you're doing YouTube at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's how it starts. You do it as a hobby, and hopefully maybe it can build up a little bit. But yeah, man, thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
Nice talk.
Yeah, it's been good. And like you said, go and subscribe to him down in the description. I hope you did like this video. I've recorded another similar one to this like a couple of days ago. I really enjoy making these because you get to know new people and
it's just it's a lot of experiences.
So comment down below if you have any opinions on what we've been talking about. Subscribe if you haven't already. All the social links are down below as well. And any last words?
No, just 5 hours.
Yeah.
See you all.
You can do the Barrett goodbye if you want.
I'll do it.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.
See you all in the next one.